and see how your whole body feels, your hips and your spine, and see how that feels. So that routine that we've just gone through, by the way, it's something that I will use very regularly in bed. I have a very firm mattress, and I find that the warmth of the bed, that little bit of give in the mattress, it's something that I can do in the morning time. If I wake maybe way before I really want to, then rather than kind of lying there and, you know, forcing myself to go back to sleep, or getting up and the house is really quite cold, it's really lovely to roll over onto your tummy. And you'll probably find that as you bring your awareness into the body and into the movements, then you're almost in a little bit of a subliminal state. All right, it's really lovely to let those thoughts arise and fall away. And kind of can be a very, very lovely, dreamy time. And of course, at the same time, what you're doing is you are really bringing a lot of life into the hip joints. And you remember last week that we talked about the organ, mind, brain connections of the hips, that it's the hips that take us from being, you know, looking down at the floor and not engaging with people, to standing up in life, bringing our gaze up to a sociable point of view, and interacting with other human beings, and very much how we meet our partnerships. So, and relationships, whether that's our equal partnerships, our peers, our friends, our spouse, or whether it's more of our nurturing partnerships. So that means where we are either doing the nurturing or being nurtured. So we talked about that quite a lot last week. How are we standing up in relationships? How can we stand up for ourselves in those relationships? How can we meet the how are we meeting the energy of the other person? Are we able to stand up to them? Are we able to stand up for ourselves in that dynamic? So when we're talking about the joints, we're talking more about whether we have the availability, whether we have the flexibility and the availability. Can I think of a better word? I think probably the flexibility. Do we have the flexibility in order to be able to do that? When we're looking at the muscles in an area, it's have we got the strength to do that? So if someone comes into me with a hip problem, what I'm trying to do is look for what is the primary problem there. Is it that they haven't got the strength, or that they haven't got the movement? Now, it's not always as obvious as you think. Of course, if you have arthritis in a joint, then when we're talking about some wear and tear there, then by the time that you actually have this arthritis, you can say, well, of course, there's going to be stiffness there. But it may well be that that arthritis, the wear and tear, appeared on that joint because there wasn't the required strength in order to keep the joint well protected as it was moving. So, you know, these are all of the things that we look at, and that is important when we're going back through what we call in lifestyle prescriptions root cause analysis. So another session today, very, very heavy on the hips. We're going to do just a little tiny bit more on the hips next week, and I hope that by now you're really getting a sense of how important it is that the hips move really well. Because when the hips move really well, then it takes a lot of stress away from the lumbar spine. So really lovely to work with you again today, and let me know how you get on. For sure, get in touch if you've got any problems, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Namaste.